A millionaire wept when 8-year-old trembled eating moldy sandwich. What happened next shook everyone. It was a freezing November morning in downtown Chicago, the kind where even the wind seems angry. Cars rushed by, steam rose from the street vents, and no one dared to stop for long. Among the busy feet and heavy coats walked an 8-year-old boy named Liam, thin, pale, and bundled in a jacket 2 sizes too big. His shoes were worn out, soles flapping with each step like tired sighs. In his hand, he clutched a crumpled brown paper bag, the contents of which would change not only his life, but the heart of a man who thought he had seen everything. Just across the street, from the warmth of a luxury black SUV, sat Martin Rhodes, a 54-year-old self-made millionaire known more for boardroom battles than compassion. He was the CEO of a successful tech company, a man who owned 3 homes and had his face on magazine covers. But lately, none of it seemed to bring him peace. His divorce was final, his grown children barely returned his calls, and every night he went to wondering why he still felt empty. As Martin's driver stopped at the light, his eyes happened to catch Liam sitting down on a frozen bench at the edge of the park. There was nothing particularly remarkable about the boy, just another homeless kid, he figured, until he saw Liam slowly unwrap the brown bag. Inside was half a moldy sandwich. The kind no child should ever have to eat. But Liam didn't hesitate. With trembling hands and chattering teeth, he took a bite, wincing at the taste but forcing himself to chew. Martin felt a jolt in his chest, one he hadn't felt in years. His hand, holding his phone mid-text, dropped to his lap. He kept staring, unable to look away. The light turned green. Cars honked. His driver asked if they should go. No. Pull over, Martin said. Seconds later, Martin stepped out into the cold, something he hadn't done without an assistant or chauffeur in years. He approached the boy slowly, uncertain what he was even doing. Hey there, Martin said gently. Liam looked up, startled, his small body tense like a cornered animal. He tried to hide the sandwich. I'm not here to take anything, Martin added quickly, kneeling to meet his eyes. Are you okay? Liam nodded. I'm fine. I'm just eating. Martin's throat tightened. Where's your family? The boy looked down. Gone. My mom, she got sick last year. After she died, I tried to stay with my uncle. But he drinks a lot. I ran away. Martin sat beside him, not caring that the bench was cold. Not caring who might recognize him. What's your name? Liam. You've been living on the street? Liam nodded again. Only since summer. It's not so bad. Some people give me food. Martin was silent for a long moment. He looked at the sandwich. The smell made his stomach turn. That doesn't look safe to eat, buddy. It's okay, Liam said. It's food. And in that moment, something inside Martin shattered. He had spent millions designing apps that made life more convenient for the wealthy, food delivery, virtual meetings, luxury rentals. But here was a child, trembling in the cold, grateful for a moldy sandwich. Martin stood up and held out his hand. Come on. Let's get you something warm. Something real. Liam hesitated, eyes scanning for danger, then slowly reached out and took Martin's hand. They walked into a nearby diner, drawing curious glances. Martin ordered pancakes, eggs, bacon, hot chocolate, enough food for 3 kids. Liam devoured it like he hadn't eaten in days. Tears welled in Martin's eyes as he watched. And then, without thinking, he made a decision that would change everything. That afternoon, Martin canceled his meetings. He called his lawyers. He contacted child services, not to report the boy, but to help him through the right legal channels. Martin wasn't trying to play the hero, he simply couldn't walk away. He put Liam in a temporary foster home he personally vetted. Paid for private counseling. Visited him weekly. Soon, monthly turned into daily. The boy started to trust again, started to smile, to draw, to talk about dreams. 6 months later, Martin did something unthinkable for someone who used to keep emotions locked behind business suits and bodyguards. He adopted Liam. When the news broke, tabloids ran wild with headlines like, "Tech Giant Adopts Homeless Boy," and "Millionaire's Heart Melted by Street Kid." But Martin didn't care. For the first time in decades, he didn't feel empty. His mansion wasn't just a house, it was a home again. People began asking him to speak. At schools. At non-profits. On talk shows. Every time, he told the story of the moldy sandwich. Of how one child reminded him what truly mattered. Inspired by Liam, Martin launched a new foundation, Second Chance Futures, to support homeless and orphan children with housing, education, and therapy. Within 2 years, it became a national movement. Liam, now 10, stood beside Martin at the opening of a new shelter in Detroit. With cameras flashing and officials applauding, he was asked by a reporter, "What would you say to people who think one person can't make a difference?" Liam smiled shyly, glanced at Martin, then said, "One kind person saved my life. That's all it takes. Just one." The crowd went silent, many in tears. Even the mayor wiped his eyes. That night, as Martin tucked Liam into bed, the boy whispered, "Thank you for seeing me." Martin kissed his forehead. "Thank you for saving me." Because sometimes, the ones we think we're helping are the ones who end up helping us the most. And in a world that often forgets the power of kindness, one trembling child and one broken millionaire reminded everyone, love doesn't need permission, and compassion has no price.